What is up, everybody? Happy Halloween. We'll give, since we're not doing an intro tonight, we'll give a few minutes for people to get in here. What am I doing? I can't find the stream. Can you?
Yeah, it just popped up for me.
It did?
Mm-hmm.
What the hell?
It took a second, but yeah, it's there.
See, this is why I do an intro.
Right.
Yeah. For shit like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't find it. It's weird. Well. All right, well, fuck it. I'll just have to look on my computer then.
Yeah.
What is up, everybody? Happy Halloween.
Hey.
Who we got in here? What we're going to do before we get to the ACC stuff, we're going to watch. How long does this normally take, do you think?
Maybe like 20, 30
Yeah,
minutes.
something like that. They usually drag the shit out, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll watch the first CFP rankings of 2023, and then we'll dive right into. We got lots to talk about with the ACC tonight.
Oh, yeah.
We got all kinds of crazy stuff that happened last week. We got some big games this week, and we also got some stuff outside, or not outside of football, but off of the football field, I'll say, to talk about. Oh, definitely with Clemson. I don't know. Oh, let's see here. I'm still pissed off that I can't find my video. This is just ridiculous. It's easier for me to...
Right.
Just give me a second.
All right.
Hashtag professional. I don't like the new upgrade or whatever the latest update to YouTube was, how they reconfigured where all the buttons are.
It's so confusing.
I know, I hate it.
It's so confusing.
And I've never had a problem.
They just changed shit for no reason.
I know. Yeah, there was nothing wrong with the way it worked. I found it now.
Yeah.
Again.
Now it just confuses me.
Right. Let's see. What does Sea-Dog have? A banana.
It appears that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm Tyler, the Clemson fan. Tyler, the Clemson fan from Spartanburg, South Carolina. Oh, what's up, Seminole Seth? We got Matt Dummett in here. PD. Harbaugh got a new contract. Yeah, so much for him being fired, huh? They gave the guy a new contract. They were talking about him being fired.
That's funny.
Yeah. Who else we got in here? True Seminole. Card guy says, go Cards. Yeah, so I saw your video today. So the CFP ranking show has come on, but I'll keep an eye on it. It's probably going to take them 10 minutes before they start actually doing anything.
Right.
I saw your video. So that's one thing I totally forgot about. We could talk about that tonight as well. The ACC went ahead and released its scheduling from now until 2000. What is it? 6 years?
It's the next 7 years.
So till 2030, basically.
Yeah.
And it is. I didn't really understand what they were trying to accomplish with that. I mean, some teams had multiple teams. Like Duke has 3 teams they play every year.
Yeah.
Some teams had 2. Who had 2? It was either Cal or Stanford had 2.
Miami had 2.
Miami had 2. Clemson has 1, which is Florida State.
Georgia Tech has freaking none.
Georgia Tech has none, and Louisville has none. So that begs the question. Again, I don't know what angle they were trying to go at here, or who exactly is the ones that voted on this structure. But it seems to me if Louisville doesn't have any and Georgia Tech doesn't have any, why aren't they the 2 that play each other?
Well, I would think it's the opposite, right? Because that would mean that would just be another like hang up. You know what I mean?
No.
Like they did it that way so that so they have more flexibility with the other scheduling to give other teams.
Right. So instead of Duke having 3, maybe they only have 2.
Oh yeah.
And then you let Georgia Tech and Louisville play every year.
Yeah.
I mean,
2 would be great, but
yeah, I didn't quite understand it. I don't really like it, but I guess when you have, first of all, when you have that many teams, and then you have an odd amount of teams because they brought 3 in instead of 2.
Yeah.
Then I guess you have to do some funky stuff.
It's our own fault. Georgia Tech and Louisville both said to the ACC that they didn't care if they had.
Really?
Yeah, if they had a protected rivalry or not.
That's interesting.
Which I didn't know when I made that video, but now I know, and I'm pissed at my school now instead of the ACC.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's kind of a bummer that Clemson and Georgia Tech don't get to play each other every year because they've been playing for 100 years. I mean,
exactly.
And again, I've been on record as saying that I'm not so hung up on the Georgia Tech and Clemson rivalry as a lot of other Clemson fans are, especially alumni.
Yeah.
Because they're both engineering schools, they're close to each other, right down I-85 there. It's not far away at all. But I am happy with the one team that we did get. If I had to pick one in this era of college football that Clemson does play every year, clearly I would pick Florida State.
Yeah.
And outside of Florida State, it would have been a close second. Probably would have been NC State. And then for me, third place would have been Georgia Tech. So anyway, I'm not complaining. And
well, you literally had that before in the 3-3-5. But
yeah, that's the 3 that we had. Yeah.
I'd still rather have the 3-3-5 than this, and I didn't even like the 3-3-5.
Yeah.
The playoff rankings are out, or they've started.
Okay, so here we go.
So 25 through 21.
I'm all the way at 10 now.
Yeah, they're all the way up there. I backed up a little bit though.
I'm surprised they did it this quickly. Ole Miss at 10, and Oklahoma at 9. Yeah, I totally missed 25, 11 through 25.
I've got it backed up here. So 25 is Air Force, and then I'll go up Tulane, Kansas State, Oklahoma State, Kansas, Southern Cal, all the way down at 20, UCLA, Utah, Tennessee at 17, Oregon State. That's your boy.
The ukulele, yep.
Where do you think Clemson will be? Clemson will be at.
What do you mean?
in the playoff rankings, where do you think they'll be ranked?
I don't know, 60th? I mean, I don't know. I don't think they go that high.
Notre Dame at 15, LSU, Louisville, Missouri. Wow, Missouri's at 12. Penn State at 11. And then you said Ole Miss.
Ole Miss 10, Oklahoma 9, Alabama 8, Texas 7. And that's as far as they've gotten on my TV.
So I'm guessing 6 would be like Oregon, or probably Oregon, right?
Yep, yeah, Oregon, because I think there's 5 undefeated teams.
Oregon, Michigan.
Oregon's going to be probably 6. Then
Washington.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do. 3, 4, and 5 are probably pretty difficult to figure out. I think Georgia and Michigan, either Michigan or Ohio State will be
Ohio
1
State.
and 2.
Yeah.
Probably Ohio State because they have a better resume. Better quality wins than Michigan does.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. Yeah, they're gonna do a commercial break before the top 6.
Yeah, of course they are. We have someone in the back room here.
So that's so.
Yes. Let's see who this is.
What's up, PigskinPeete?
Hey, what's up, man?
What's up, you, dude?
Nothing. Doing a show, bro. Who are we speaking with here?
Sam?
Sam.
Yeah, remember?
Do I remember Sam?
Yeah.
I don't know. Do I?
Sometimes John Chess's panel sometimes way back.
Chess Hall?
Yeah,
Oh God.
Sam Bell.
but yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, what's up,
How you
Sam?
doing,
It's been a
man?
while.
Been a while, yeah.
What's going on, man?
What's up, you guys?
Well, we're doing the whole ranking show.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I came ask PigskinPeete a question.
yeah. What's up?
I saw your video, dude, about the whole radio show.
Yeah.
How did all that go down, dude? I don't know. Like, some kid came on the radio show and just started mouthing off or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so Dabo Sweeney every week during the season does a call-in show hour on the local
Yeah.
radio station in Clemson. Some coaches do it, some coaches don't. And this guy, kid/guy, whatever you want to call him, called in and was questioning why Dabo Sweeney's making $11 million a year and putting a 4-4 team on the field and all that. And Dabo went off on him. That's the gist of it.
Well, do you agree with the kid said about him making $11 million and you guys lost 4 games right now because he's making $11 million and Clemson's lost 4 games? Should his salary be cut
No.
down to about $9 million?
No, there's a reason. There's a reason they gave him a $115 million contract to begin with.
Yeah.
So he earned that contract.
Should they cut that?
No,
No.
first of all, they can't. They're under contract.
Yeah.
Dabo Sweeney's not going to. Dabo Sweeney's not going to agree to a pay cut. I mean, if they want him gone, they're going to have to pay him and ship him out the door.
I don't want Dabo Sweeney gone from Clemson to say if they make a new contract will his salary be cut. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well, he's under contract until 2032. So.
They need to give him a Brian Ferentz contract
Yeah. Right.
where you have to take a certain amount of transfer portal players.
Yeah. He ain't signing that contract. I'll tell you that right now. Oregon
what's up,
6, Washington 5, Florida State 4. So the top 3 are going to be Georgia, Ohio State, and Michigan. We'll see what order they come in. Again, this doesn't really matter. For some reason, if you're one of these top 4 teams, you get some fans, not all of them, get all bent out of shape that we should have been 3 instead of 4, or we should have been 1 instead of 2.
Well, you guys play Clemson again. We guys play Clemson.
Oh wow, they got
not Clemson, Duke.
I haven't looked at the future. I don't have the future schedule memorized. I just came out yesterday.
I think you play Duke next, or Clemson plays Duke next.
What do you mean, next year?
No, next. Hearing about next couple of games left.
No, we already played Duke. We lost to them.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
So they got Michigan 3, Georgia 2, Ohio State 1.
Yep.
I'm
surprised. I'm surprised they have Ohio State at 1.
I don't like Ohio State, dude. I hate Ohio State.
You and everybody else.
I don't like him, dude. Seriously.
Is Sea Dog a banana? Yes, he's a banana. Can you hear?
Hey, dog, how you doing, man?
I'm having a hard time, even just with this wig, with the hair. It muffles the headphones a little bit. Is that banana costume like muffling your headphones at all? That thing looks thick.
A little. Not really. I can hear fine.
I think he's wearing a banana costume because it's Halloween.
That might be why.
I hope so.
The Tampa Bay guy, what's his name? It's Kane
Slim.
something. Kane's what?
Slim.
Yeah, that's what. What's up, Slim Kane?
Oh, look who's here.
Whoa.
Hi, Luke.
Yeah, let's
on,
let's do
man?
it. Yeah.
What's going on?
This is Luke upset, by the way.
Yeah, this is his best impression of being upset.
I'm more sad than upset at this point.
well. What do we have here? Man.
I mean, just a piece of friendly advice, Luke. You're starting to seem less and less human than Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, you didn't know I
Okay,
could get any sadder.
You know
Well, what is Luke's current mental status?
Sad.
Not over it yet?
I'm sorry, Luke.
I'm over it in the fact that I don't really care about the football season anymore. So.
Who's Luke's team? Who's Luke's team?
North Carolina,
North
unfortunately.
Carolina.
Now, Luke, are they going to do like they did last year and not win another game after losing to Georgia Tech?
Well, we play Campbell this week, so that's unlikely.
Well, not impossible.
Not
I'm about to
impossible.
say,
That'd be a new
if
one.
you lose to the Campbell Soup kids, boy, you think it's bad now.
You got the
Hey,
camels
Hey,
coming up in the
Canes.
building.
Hey, Canes.
7 and 5 is a
You
possibility.
should
though.
give Luke some credit because North Carolina had the best start to the season when they beat South Carolina during the first game of the season this year. So you gotta give North Carolina props for that.
That
Sam,
feels like a long time ago.
Sam, who's your college team?
Tennessee, University of Tennessee,
Oh,
the Volunteers.
right.
You know that.
Sam, why should I give him credit for beating a bad South Carolina team?
Yeah, it's a 2-win team.
Yeah, but they went they
Listen,
were
we just lost to
undefeated.
Georgia Tech and Virginia.
They were
We deserve credit
undefeated
for beating some
before
bad
when they
teams.
got beat by Georgia Tech.
Georgia
So
Tech's
you gotta
better.
give them props for that for a good start. Just saying.
Georgia Tech's better than South Carolina.
These are facts.
I mean,
If the pattern continues,
I don't
they're gonna
think-
make a bowl game.
I don't think there's 10 teams in the Power 5 that are worse than South Carolina. Do you? This is a fun game. Can you name 10?
I could probably name 10.
UConn is worse.
I said the Power 5.
Well, yeah.
Northwestern, maybe?
Cal?
I don't know.
Stanford?
Arizona State.
But yep, I'll give you that one.
Colorado.
I don't know, man. They got 4
That would be a
wins.
shootout.
Beamer ball versus freaking primetime.
Yeah.
That would be a shootout. I'd put the over and under at least 75.
Ohio State #1. Look at that.
Virginia's pretty bad.
Not sure if I agree with that. Like, I mean, Ohio State definitely deserves to be in the top 4 or 5,
Oh.
but #1, I mean, it's just not the order I would have put it in.
Did we run them off?
I don't know.
Well, Luke just does that sometimes.
Ohio State should not be #1. Georgia should be #1 than Ohio State, period.
Georgia should be unranked.
Ow,
Oh my
that's not nice, Sea-Dog.
I see. None of this matters. It's all going to play itself out. Well, Ohio State has to play Michigan. That's going to take care of that.
Well, Miami
Yeah.
Hurricanes should not be ranked either.
They're not, are they?
No.
No.
Okay, so what's the argument then?
I
Our
don't
buddy
know.
Touchdown Tim had him ranked #6 in his playoff poll.
Yeah, well, touchdown Tim eats every Tide Pod and licks every window within reach.
Have you been following him?
Oh, I have been following him on Twitter, and it is
It's
amazing.
incredible. It's incredible.
Hey, Slim Shady Canes, it's good to see you, man. Been a
You
long
too,
time
Sam.
since I've talked to you. I don't know when the last time I talked to you guys. It's been a long time.
It
Probably
really has.
last year.
It's been
Probably
yeah.
talked to you guys last year or something. I don't know.
But yeah, Dog, he's been arguing back and forth. He got into some Twitter beef with some Notre Dame fans,
Oh yeah.
and that was funny.
I like jumping in on. I like jumping in on him too. It's hilarious.
Is he a Miami guy?
Yes.
All right.
You're missing out.
That's
if
an
you're not following him.
understatement, sir. He has Miami ranked at number 6 in his playoff poll.
He's got Georgia Tech at 25.
And he's got wait a minute. He's got Florida State at number 7.
He got Miami ranked ahead of Florida State.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's serious as a heart attack.
Are you sure about that?
He doesn't have
serious.
Michigan ranked at all.
Well, that's
He hates Michigan so bad. There, what does he call him?
Mitt cheating.
Yeah, Michigan.
Okay,
He has them unranked.
let's talk about that. Why is Michigan getting cheating again and getting investigated by the NCAA? What's going on with that?
Because somebody has a hard-on to take down Jim Harbaugh. I don't know who he's pissed off, but
Well,
I mean, with a couple of these back-to-back like this, he's pissed off somebody at the NCAA.
yeah. Well, he just got an extension on his contract.
This touchdown Tim guy, he's the Connor Stallions of Miami. I bet he has the Miami manifesto.
I believe after the NCAA is all over, I think Jim Harbaugh should be suspended, not fired from Michigan. Period.
He's not getting fired. He just got an extension today.
Yeah,
What is it? People keep saying he's getting fired. You don't give somebody an extension that you're about to fire. So all the Jim Harbaugh getting fired talk should end immediately. Not getting fired.
I'm not trying to get Jim Harbaugh fired, dude.
Now, Jim Harbaugh may not be getting fired, but after last night, Dabo Sweeney should.
You think he should be fired?
I agree.
Oh, I put that in your comments section of that video. Yeah, he should be fired.
Why?
For cause.
For cause. Because he's losing games on purpose.
Exactly.
Well, no, I'm not even talking about losing games on purpose, but they do have there are clauses in contracts with college coaches that are basically codes of conduct like you have in the military. And I'd say he probably broke every last one of them last night. That dude was not being antagonistic. That dude was being very respectful.
Really?
Yes. I listened to the audio.
Okay. So
The entire thing.
So you think questioning his salary is not being rude? Because I've heard this from several people in my comment section after that video. He wasn't being rude. Listen, he was being. Just because you sound your delivery is nice, it doesn't mean you're not being disrespectful.
In my opinion, he wasn't being disrespectful, and yes, that actually kind of goes to the heart of it. You don't pay $11 million for a 4-4 coach.
He didn't get paid $11 million to go 4-4. He got paid $11 million for the last 10 years of winning.
And I understand that.
Yeah. And so that was the answer to the guy's question. Why are we paying you $11 million a year? So Dabo Sweeney gave him the answer. Now, look.
I disagree with you and Dabo. I don't think it's a kid. Like, if you listen to what the guy said when he was saying, well, I was overseas during the really good championship years, I think that dude's in the military.
Yeah, he probably
that
is.
makes Dabo an even bigger piece of shit.
Right. Now, I don't agree with him going on and on and on and on and on.
I lost all respect for Dabo.
I didn't agree with the way he handled it necessarily. I do think, though, that as someone who does a show where people call in, if someone calls in as disrespectful to you, I completely understand defending yourself. And the program and the players and the guys you employ.
But like I said, part of that, part of the reason you get paid so much is to conduct yourself a certain way. And last night was not it.
Yeah. And
now, I agree with your point, going back at somebody that comes back at you, but let's be honest, everything he brought up are questions every Clemson fan I've heard on the internet has.
Sure. I don't think I don't think he was respectful in the way that he asked it.
I do.
But Dabo Sweeney
He was, and the whole thing with "you're a man of faith" and quoting some Bible verse about pride before the fallen and all this bullshit, like that is clearly the guy's trying to get under his skin. I mean,
Well, and Dabo just came across as a smug, arrogant asshole.
well, so JT says, I don't know if I were that skin, maybe I wouldn't do a call-in show. Well, first of all, I 100% agree that Dabo should not be taking calls from fans. And you know what?
He's far from the only coach that does that.
Well, so he had a press conference today, and they asked him about that call last night, and he sort of doubled down. He called the guy an idiot. He said the guy went Old Testament on me, so I gave him the Old Testament back. He called him an idiot, and
I mean,
but
what's Dabo gonna say if the next Clemson home game, like 5,000 people are there because he's pissed off that many folks?
yeah, I doubt that's going to happen. But he did say on there, he said today, he said, you know, this is the reason that a lot of coaches around the country don't take calls from fans. This is the reason right here. And so I'm thinking, yeah, so why are you doing it?
Yeah, well, and
I mean-
I actually think more should, because then you get the questions asked that the reporters either one don't have the balls to ask or know that they're going to get kicked out of that press room for asking.
Did someone ask him if he's losing games on purpose yet?
Not that I've heard. Look,
He should be. I don't think he is, but he should be asked that question.
no,
Exactly.
look, he's not going to lose a game on purpose.
I'll call in.
Yeah.
And
I
ask
agree.
him.
not.
I agree with you.
Why hasn't
But given
anybody
what
asked
he
him?
said, that question should be asked.
All
I'll
right.
call and ask him. Somebody needs to ask him.
I'm calling in a Dabo show next week.
You need to. That would be incredible.
I would love to
Please
hear
do
Slim
that.
Shady Canes call Dabo.
Ask him that. It's a good question. The people need to know.
Yeah,
Please,
John,
please record that.
I said that last night on the Lunch Money show. I said, you know, this is uncharted territory. Well, according to Dabo, it's not. Because the first few years at Clemson were pretty rough, so he took a lot of heat. A lot of people wanted him fired. But it's been a long time. I mean, for the past 12 years, he's been on cloud nine, and so he hasn't really had to face any tough questions.
Well,
Until now.
he's still trying the poor, pitiful Dabo routine too. Like when I got hired, nobody wanted me, and it's like, yes, logically, nobody would want you because you had never been a coordinator, much less a head coach.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
there's
well-
nothing. That's a very logical line of thinking.
I said it on the video today, that the whole Dabo against the world thing is really starting to grow old at this point. The only thing I could say is hopefully he can take all the negative energy and use that as motivation to sort of get his fire back. To me, he's gotten a little bit complacent, a little bit too comfortable. And
I agree with that.
I think that bleeds into the team, you know, and so maybe now it's a reason to have a resurgence. I don't know. I have no idea how it's going to play out. But you know, my original hope was he's admitted that this is a bad year and that changes need to be made. He's not going to say what those changes are. But then again, today he sort of said, you know, I'm not changing the way that I do things here, whether you like it or not. So I don't know. I don't know what to expect in this offseason. I don't think he's changed his philosophy at all. And I don't think that he will.
I don't think that he should because it's proven to work. But his methods along the way have changed. And I don't remember if it was you said it or if it was Brian that said it on one of his videos. I think there's probably also a lack of accountability because, I mean, he's been there longer than the last two previous ADs. He's been there longer than the president of the university. I don't know how often they change the board of trustees, but probably been around longer than some of them.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, I don't.
There may be a lack of accountability as far as Dabo having answered anybody.
Oh, I 100% agree with that. I mean, part of the problem is that it's turned in from the Clemson football program to the Dabo football program.
Yes.
Now, I don't think that's unique necessarily. In other words, I feel like there's this same sort of thing going on at Alabama with Nick Saban, and probably at this point at Georgia with Smart after winning back-to-back titles.
With that. It was probably the same way with Tom Osborne in Nebraska and Bobby Bowden at Florida State.
Yeah. Again, I don't really have a problem with him defending himself, but some of the stuff where the woe is me, poor, pitiful Dabo, nobody likes me thing is old. And also what's really getting old is the constant threat to go somewhere else. It's like, dude, you're starting to sound like you do want to go somewhere else. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep saying that. And by the way, if you go anywhere else and draw that big of a salary and go 4-4, you better believe, I don't care where you are. Even at a bad program like South Carolina, whose expectations aren't to win the conference every year or to go to the playoffs or win, even have 10 wins or make a New Year's Six bowl game, if you start out the season 4-4, even the South Carolina fans are going to be pissed at you. I mean,
he thinks it's bad now. What would it be like, say, at Alabama?
It would be worse. It would be worse. Anywhere that would be worth him going would be worse.
Yeah.
What if y'all miss a bowl this year?
I don't think that they will.
I don't see 3 more wins.
You don't?
No, I don't see 2 more wins. I'm sorry.
You don't see them beating Georgia Tech or South Carolina or both?
Wow. I got bad news for you, Pete, but Georgia Tech's going to beat Clemson this year.
Yeah.
Is that on the every other week pattern?
It sure
It
is.
It's on the every other week
when
pattern.
South Carolina plays Clemson, it's going to be a close game.
You'll beat South Carolina with 5 wins.
He's got a point, Pete. If the pattern continues, they will lose to Virginia this week, and they will beat Clemson next week.
Yeah,
And then
I
we'll
don't.
lose to Syracuse, and then we'll beat Georgia.
I'm not one of these numerologist people that believes in that bullshit. I don't. That doesn't mean anything to me.
Georgia Tech's just better.
Hey,
Right.
Dog,
What's up?
you're not beating Georgia. Georgia's going to beat Georgia Tech, dude.
No way, dude. We're totally
Yes,
beating Georgia. You
Georgia-
kidding me?
Georgia is going to smack you around, dude.
I don't think so,
You're not-
man.
Georgia Tech is not going to beat Georgia, dude. I know.
Man, two weeks ago, Sea-Dog was sobbing into his phone, and now he's beating Clemson and Georgia.
This time next week, I'll be sobbing again, but you got me on a good week.
I'll tell you what. If I were Notre Dame, I'd be a little bit worried about this weekend.
Georgia Tech, you're going to be sobbing, dude.
I wouldn't be worried at all. Clemson suffers the same problem we do. You look back at our wins, and they're not very impressive.
Well,
Well, I mean, you've beaten Florida Atlantic, Charleston Southern, Syracuse, and then 2 of the Wake Forest and Syracuse, 2 of the absolute worst teams in the ACC.
yeah, and then they went to double overtime with 2 other teams, Florida State and NC State.
That's true.
So, but look, the reason I say that I'd be a little bit worried if I were Notre Dame because Clemson they're out of any ACC picture, they're out of a New Year's Six picture, they're out of any picture that matters in the scheme of college football. They're right now they really don't have anything to lose, at all. I mean,
That is true.
and also
Well, and I've been open about it. I think Notre Dame's a bit overrated. I mean, as the weeks go by, the USC win looks less and less impressive, and I'm still really underwhelmed with Notre Dame's offense.
And although I didn't like the way it happened, Shipley's still out. And so Phil Maffa is going to get 90% of the carries in this game. And I think you're going to see a difference. I think he's
What happened to
a better
him?
back.
I heard he went out, but I didn't hear what it was.
Yeah, you know what? I still don't know what it was.
It was scary when it first happened.
Was it a
He
concussion or
wasn't moving
something?
on the ground?
Is it a concussion?
It looked like he got hit in the neck, but I don't know what it is.
Speaking of which, how's Tez Walker doing?
He went to the hospital, but he got released. That's all we really know.
Did y'all see he got his absolute freaking block knocked off in the Tech game?
There are people that know more
I'm
about
surprised.
medicine that said it could have been like a spleen thing, but I don't know for
Really?
sure. He got hit right.
I'm honestly, I'm surprised like he didn't get called for a blindside block on that.
Yeah. Well, it was a tackle.
Yeah.
Well, I get it, but you know how they want to throw flags on everything, and like I didn't know they had changed that.
I was surprised
rule.
too. It was a clean hit though.
Yeah, it was clean. That's
He just
really hard hit.
did not.
Oh, I agree, but I mean, at this point, anytime I see a bad hit, I'm looking for yellow.
Yeah. They
Oh, yeah.
flag it and then review it. Yeah, I was surprised they didn't at least look at it.
We'll look back here at week 9. We won't go through every single game though. We'll do some highlights here in the interest of time because we still have to talk about week 10 as well. But before I do that, getting back to the Phil Maffa thing, again today, I watched Dabo's entire press conference today because I knew they were going to ask him about it last night. Anyway, so he was talking about the game coming up, and one of the reporters asked him a pretty interesting question, a question that we've all been asking, but we haven't got an answer to. He said, being that Shipley went down last week, Phil Maffa came in to carry the load, had 2, not 1, but 2 rushing touchdowns from inside the 5-yard line. Now we know Clemson's issues throughout the season have been not being able to punch it in from inside the 5-yard line, right? And turning it over constantly. So they said, do you feel confident that now maybe you use Phil Maffa more down near the goal line? And Dabo looked a little bit irritated by that. I feel like he's been hearing the fans talk about that. Yeah. And he said, we have been using him. We used him against Duke and he fumbled. Now, and then he said, we don't really have a preference. They're both great backs. We don't have a preference between the two. We try to give them equal time, which is just false. Shipley gets 80% of the carries each week. I mean, yeah. Dabo loves stats. I mean, the guy is basically a walking stat machine when it comes to Clemson football. He should know better than anybody that what he said as far as trying to give them equal time is that's a total lie. It's a lie.
Ooh, that's not very Christian of him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lie, and he knows it's a lie. Now, I don't expect him to say we like Shipley better. I mean, he's not going to say that. But to just outright say we like them equally and we think they're equally good and we give them equal time is just it's not true. But I do think that as long as Phil Maffa can stay healthy in this game, I think you're going to see a big game out of him, and hopefully he gets a lot of touches. Oh.
I mean, if Shipley can't go, they're not going to have a choice.
Yeah, Maffa's going to get the carries. And that's what we've all been asking for. Not that I don't like Shipley or I don't think he's any good. I just feel like you've got a guy who's 30 pounds heavier and maybe a couple of inches taller and is a powerful running back, and you're not using him enough. That's all.
Now, here's a theory. Now, I don't know if this pertains to Clemson because obviously, basically nobody sees any film from practice anymore. But I know some schools, because of the restrictions the NCAA has put on tackling in practice, have just cut out tackling in practice. Do you think that's something that might be going on? Because that would explain why they're having trouble holding on to the ball.
Yeah, I think any team doesn't tackle at all in practice.
Yeah, I think probably.
They probably aren't tackling.
They're probably not tackling the quarterback.
Season, but they definitely tackled during training camp.
They're probably not hitting the quarterback during practice.
Well, I'm sure of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard. Clearly, I haven't been to a practice, and I haven't heard anything as far as that goes. I'd be surprised if they're not doing any tackling at all. But
I mean, it's just something that would explain kind of the fumble problem that they're having. Because if you're not tackling in practice and then you get out in a game.
Well, a lot of the fumbles, though, I mean, look, fumbles are going to happen. I mean, somebody knocks the ball out or puts their helmet on the ball, it pops out. That's completely understandable. But most of these have been poor exchanges between the quarterback and the running back. That's been most of them. Or Cade Klubnik running around, flailing his arms around with the ball not protected when he's under pressure in the pocket. And then so he gets hit and the ball just goes flying. I mean, he can't hold on to it. Now, that is something that should have been coached out of him after week 1. They're running around with the ball not protected.
Well, I remember one in the Florida State game. He wasn't running around, and he absolutely got clocked from his blind side because somebody.
Well, that was it.
Phil
Maffa missed a block, so that was another reason why everyone's down on Phil Maffa. You know, he's fumbled a couple times. He's not known to be the greatest run blocker.
Right.
Shipley's definitely a better pass blocker. Shipley's a better pass blocker than Maffa is, but Shipley has also had his fumbling problems this year. So if you're using that logic to say that we're not going to play Maffa as much because he can't hold on to the ball, then you need to use that same energy when it comes to Shipley and Klubnik, but they're not.
Shipley should be in that same doghouse. You're absolutely right.
So it's not a Phil Maffa problem. It's a Clemson offensive problem all the way around. But
I got to tell you that I think Dabo, from what you said about that press conference today, that's going to make things worse because just what he said about the even distribution between Maffa and Shipley is such a blatant lie that I'm wondering if Dabo's problems are fixing to start snowballing rapidly.
Yeah, I don't know why the reporter didn't follow up with, well, if you're saying that you try to give him equal time, then how come Shipley has 150 more carries this year? I mean, they could have easily called him out on his bullshit. I know what he was trying to do. He's trying to say that he has as much respect for Maffa as he does Shipley and as much confidence, but that doesn't translate to the amount of carries they're getting.
Right, and after addressing it in the way he did, I mean, the first thought that popped in my head, and I'm sure I'm not going to be the only one. Well, okay, you're treating people as if they're stupid and they don't know any better.
Yeah. Phil Maffa still leads the team in average yards per carry. He has all year with 6, I think. Yeah, 6 yards per carry. He's only carried the ball 73 times. I bet you Shipley has carried the ball 160 times. I don't know. I'm guessing. Anyway.
Luke, look that shit up.
Yeah, where are my stat people at? All right, so Florida State, Wake Forest, nothing to see. That was a blowout. Pittsburgh and Notre Dame, that was a blowout. Now this is the one that I know Sea-Dog's been dying to talk about.
I'm trolling in the comment section. This Drake May idiot.
Luke,
is this a troll account?
Drake May? No.
No, it's not Luke.
Are you sure it's not your?
No, he calls into my call-in show all the time.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
He calls in.
Yeah.
I've never heard him call in.
On the late call-in show that I do on Wednesday and Friday, he calls in.
This guy's in denial that we are North Carolina's father.
I mean, 19 out of 22, you can't argue with that.
19 out of 25. And
19 out of 25, okay.
And that's more than any other team in that time.
The graphic ESPN flashed up was 22. That's where I got it from.
Maybe it is 22. I don't know. But you can go back a little further, I guess. And
I can think of individual seasons we beat Georgia Tech. That's usually not a good thing.
Yeah, unlike Dabo, you can't ignore that stat. Numbers don't lie.
Yeah.
So, but what a big win for Georgia Tech. And on the flip side of that, what a crushing. Now I know North Carolina lost to Virginia, and that was bad enough. But again, I feel like every team is unless you're Alabama or Ohio State or Georgia or something, almost every team in the country is going to suffer some bad loss to a team that's probably not as good as them. But they're still in the conversation after the Virginia loss in the ACC. They still have everything in front of them. And then they
can still believe after they lost to Virginia, you can still make the ACC championship and win it.
Maybe. Right.
This just ends everything, really.
Yeah, so you go down to Georgia Tech after that crushing defeat and just, add insult to injury.
You shouldn't have lost to Virginia because you were always going to lose. That was a penciled-in L against Georgia Tech, so you really blew it by losing to Virginia.
And we spent the entire first 8 weeks talking about how great and improved the defense was, and they've just fallen off the fucking map in the past 2 weeks. Like they just
give up like over 600 yards of offense to Georgia Tech.
yeah.
135. Luke, I know you got to dodge eating a real crow here, but I want you to eat some figurative crow. I just want you to
Wait,
tell
didn't we
everybody
say he
how
was
much-
supposed? Wasn't he supposed to eat a ghost pepper?
No, we
just called it off because
before the game, we
couldn't-
just-
No,
Oh.
Luke
we couldn't
chickened
agree.
out of everything, apparently.
I
I
couldn't
did.
get him to
We
commit
said
to
it before the
anything.
game.
Probably because he saw this coming.
So you went from eating an actual crow to eating a pepper to nothing?
Yep.
What?
Don't forget, he was going to write an essay at one point, like that was actually something.
I think
Yeah.
I think it's fair for you to eat some figurative crow. I think that's fair.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think
No,
what
you
you
go
need
ahead.
to do is,
No, I want you to
I think
tell
what you
everybody
need to do, hang on, Brett, I'm going to help you out here, Sea-Dog. What you need to do, Luke, you need to Google Georgia Tech's fight song and sing it live on air.
Yeah, I'll broadcast that. Yeah, sing along with it too. I could probably pull up the audio if you want to sing along with it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do
No.
that. They've ding Lou for the audio for
I
Georgia's
need
fight
you
song.
to
Really?
I need you to
Yeah.
just tell us who's the better team.
Georgia Tech owns us.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I can't argue with it anymore. They'll probably pick Georgia Tech to beat us next year.
So
No.
if you
North
look,
Carolina dodges Georgia Tech.
Oh, do
Dodge
we?
is their daddy. They only have to take a loss to us 2 of the next 7 years. Can you believe it?
Yeah, I saw that. They really are sucking off Tobacco Road with that schedule.
So luckily for you, you might not have to have the Jackets derail your season
Let-
here in the next 7 years.
hold on,
We'll
forget
just
next
lose
year.
Somebody else instead.
Let me ask Luke a question about this season because this season's still going on.
Yeah.
You now what are you? 6-2.
6-2.
6-2.
Same record as Miami.
Give me your honest end of the year schedule prediction after the regular season. How many more games do you think you're going to lose?
See, this is tough
All of 'em.
because I see a scenario where we're 7-5, but I also see
Oh.
a scenario where we're like 9-3.
So basically, you have no
Forward,
freaking
so
clue
middle.
because that's a big difference.
You'll beat Clemson.
Clemson will probably play the best game of their season against us.
Clemson has 3 of their the next 3 games are all at home. We got
the best game Cade Klubnik has ever played was against North Carolina.
Man.
anyway.
Hey Luke, who is the better quarterback? I'm dying to know.
You want me to lie or you want me to say the truth?
You don't have to believe it. I just want you to tell me who's the better quarterback.
Fine, Haynes King.
He doesn't believe that.
Yes. Oh,
See, I didn't even have to do that because at least against Miami, Haynes King played like shit.
Well, Drake May doesn't play defense.
Yeah, Drake May was the highest rated quarterback in the country.
Drake May didn't give up
However,
46
Haynes
points and 600 yards to Georgia Tech.
That's true. However, Haynes King still had better stats. He looked like a Heisman quarterback against them.
We had the
And
highest rated
it's
quarterback
just-
in the country and a running back run for 150 yards and lost.
It's just poetic. Everything about this victory is poetic in a lot of ways. I mean, you have the record thing, the pattern, of course, that everybody's talking about, the win-loss pattern. And then you have, we were honoring Paul Johnson that night because he was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame.
And Paul
So
Johnson owned us too.
He was there.
Yeah.
He was there for that game, and we rushed for so many yards. Like we rushed for like 230.
They ran for 200 yards in the fourth quarter.
quarter.
Oh my God.
And that running back that owned you guys so thoroughly, that was running all over you guys, Dante Smith, he hadn't played at all this year until Saturday night, and he was
He
the
was well
last.
rested.
He was the last Paul Johnson recruit left on the roster.
Damn, there's still Paul Johnson players left?
Just him.
Wow.
And he comes and Paul Johnson comes to visit and get inducted in the Hall of Fame. And Dante Smith, his last recruit, puts on a show and it just couldn't be more poetic. And then of course Haynes King has the game of his life after Luke spent all offseason telling us how terrible he is, and it's just so nice.
Well, I do have to say I did see because you live streamed that game with Rec Talk, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did see the end of that. The end of that live stream. I don't think I've ever seen two human beings more excited in my life than you and him, especially
you.
you.
Miami game.
Yeah, at least they left their shirts on for that. They were taking their shirts off for the Miami game, and
Yeah.
We don't know what they would have done if they were together.
yeah,
Well, you saw that in the Wake Forest game.
I
Oh,
mean,
yeah.
it was like the after the Miami game. I mean, we were on the verge of some soft core Skinamax.
But talk about another poetic thing. We taught our Hurricane buddies a lesson on how to take a knee that game too to win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you didn't,
Sure
because I
did.
pointed that out. I pointed that out on Twitter and in the post game show. Miami took a knee in the Virginia game.
Yeah, when you
Oh
probably should
wow!
have
So
tried
they
to
learned.
score.
They learned from their mistakes, huh?
That was kind of
Not sure I would
inappropriate
call it a
on taking
mistake considering he didn't fumble.
Oh wow!
All right,
Well,
we got to move
I'll tell you
on.
what was a mistake was giving up 75 yards in 26 seconds.
We got to move on to the next game here.
I do have to say on a serious note though, Haynes King I was wrong about him. He's actually pretty good.
Thank you.
No, that's very big
Now,
of
what
you,
about your
Luke.
defense, though? They've given up like almost 1,300 yards between two games.
Yeah. I mean, North Carolina's defense had Virginia's offense looking like the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean,
I mean, even though we lost, Miami still put up over 500 yards of offense against North Carolina.
yeah. All right, moving on. Duke, what, man, is Duke? Are they about to go on a losing streak? I mean, they got shut out.
It's just
Played that
Riley
game.
Leonard. I think he, even though he played, he's still.
He's not 100%, and he didn't he get re-injured?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did. He went hobbling off in the Florida State game. I'll be honest, I didn't watch this game, so I don't know.
If he is not 100%, that team is doomed. Unfortunately
That
for them.
defense can only do so much.
Yeah, right. So anyway, they lost 23-0 to Louisville. And meanwhile, Louisville's sitting there with one loss, a close loss at that. Most likely, I think we're going to see Louisville and Florida State at the end of the year. But I mean,
Imagine
what?
if it's Virginia Tech?
Yeah,
I don't know,
do
man, because
play.
Louisville's got another loss coming.
Well, they do play each other.
they play each other this week, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's basically that has actually ACC title implications.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Who would have thought Virginia?
I know
after
it's
losing to like Marshall and Rutgers.
this has been a wild season in the ACC.
Dude, I've got a feeling it's going to come down to the very end because I've got a feeling if Miami beats Louisville at the end of the year, the second to last game, that may knock them out of the ACC title game.
Yeah, it's definitely not set in stone. I mean, there's still and in this conference from week to week, you have no idea who's going to win. You just don't.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, I have a feeling we're going to see some crazy shit happen over the next few weeks. But anyway, right now Louisville's sitting in the driver's seat. They need to beat Virginia Tech this week, and I think that might solidify it for them.
The standings.
Which is
in the
another notch
ACC
to
right
prove
now.
the superiority of the ACC because, I mean, you know what it is, at least in one division of the E SEC.
The
And-
standings in the ACC right now are kind of interesting. We have Florida State at 1, of course, Louisville, Virginia Tech, and then can anybody guess who's third? Or fourth, I mean.
We already know.
It's Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
It's Georgia Tech.
That's why we knew as soon as you said that.
It's Georgia Tech. And then, of course, our buddies, North Carolina, and then I guess Miami. So
Yeah, well,
it's still open. It's still wide open. I'm not saying Georgia Tech's not going to win out, but that's funny, at least.
So the final two games of last week were both upsets. Clemson on the road at NC State folded like a lawn chair yet again, in the same fashion as they folded. It didn't really surprise me.
Really?
No, I mean, it's just the same exact thing we've seen in all of their other losses. You know, it's just bad turnovers, bad decisions as far as play calling. In my opinion, bad personnel choices at certain positions, mainly running back. Yeah. And for the second week in a row, Clemson gives up a giant play after a turnover. Against Miami, it was a 100-yard touchdown, and then this one was an 80-yard run. You know, it's like, yeah, so I wasn't surprised, actually, unfortunately. But, and then Virginia taking Miami down to the wire. I thought Virginia was going to win that game.
I feel better about that considering that they had just knocked off a top 10 team the week before. But I actually, when Miami come out in the second half and marched down the field and then immediately got that pick six on the first play after Virginia got it back, I knew Miami was going to win the game.
Yeah.
You know, Tyler, there's some credence. Like, I mean, I still, in general, disagree with it. There's some credence to Emory should have played in that game because Tyler's still obviously not 100%. Both interceptions were underthrown because the injured leg he had was his plant leg when he throws.
Yeah. And what is there any update on that?
I mean, Mario said he's still good to go. Mario's very, very tight-lipped about any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but
most coaches are.
He hasn't said anything different as far as you know, him not playing. I've got no reason to think he's not going to start again Saturday.
All right, moving on. We're gonna skip to the Saturday games here because Wake Forest at Duke. Well, actually, that's more interesting than I thought it was going to be with the situation with Duke. But I mean, does anybody think they could possibly lose to Wake? I guess they could.
I don't know, man. Wake's offense is pretty pitiful.
Yeah.
And Duke's defense, as everybody knows, is really good. And I think Wake's defense is bad enough that even with a backup quarterback, they'll probably still give up some points to Duke.
Yeah, Duke could probably just run the ball 100 times and win that game. Honestly.
I could see that.
Yeah, and that's what they're going to have to do if Leonard's not 100%. So.
And I hate it for Duke, too. That was a good story. And I hate to see good players get injured.
Yeah, me too. Boston College and Syracuse, not much to see there. So Notre Dame at Clemson again. I'll be there this weekend. I am not one of the 1.5%ers that Dabo Sweeney hates so much.
You're not the problem.
I'm not. Well, I might be. I think I'm definitely fit into that category as far. You know, he doesn't like people on the outside criticizing, and so that is definitely me.
Sir, you need your motorcycle back, and you need a 1.5% patch on it.
Yeah, I thought somebody gave me the idea. Was it you? Somebody gave me the idea of a 1.5% T-shirt, which is a great idea.
I said a tattoo or a T-shirt or something. Yeah.
I'm going to get right on that. To wear that to a game would be freaking awesome. You know? And then, Uncle Lou last night gave me a great idea. He said, "Are you going to rush the Paw after you lose to Notre Dame and video it and upload it to YouTube?" I said, "Yeah, I didn't even think about that, but that's a great idea." Yeah, I mean, even whether they win or lose, either way, just running on the field and running around and videoing it would be great. Yeah.
I got to figure out a way to record a phone call. Because I'm legit going to call into Dabo's radio show. And if I can get on, I'll post that shit to YouTube.
Yeah, well, you'll probably go viral like our boy Tyler did. I'm wondering, has anybody tried? There's got to be somebody that's trying to track that guy down.
Gotta be.
Because whenever Dabo, he listened to the guy for a while and he goes, all right, I've had enough of this guy. And then Dabo went on his 5-minute rant, but I'm pretty sure they hung up on Tyler during that. So he didn't get a chance to have a back and forth dialogue with him. So I'm surprised that nobody has tried to find that guy yet and sort of interview him and ask him about that call. Maybe
Should've
somebody's
triangulated his location.
triangulated his location. There's also all these.
If that was me, I would be blowing up on everywhere on the internet that I could that I am Tyler.
Yeah, definitely. But there's all these theories out there. You know, the one theory is that Tyler was a plant by Dabo. Now I don't believe that. Sort of a way to address all the criticism without just coming out and doing it, almost like he has to defend himself. So that was a plant call. The other theory is that Tyler is not even a Clemson fan at all. He's just a troll. And he was calling in to get Dabo Sweeney worked up and succeeded. You know.
I mean, of those two theories, the second one's definitely most likely. But I mean, even if it was a Dabo plant, Dabo still handled it wrong. Like, to just sit there and go on about I've never failed in my life. Like, who the fuck do you think you are, dude?
Well, he has.
Like I said, that whole thing bugs me. And Dabo came across as a real piece of shit, and I've lost all respect for him.
Well, there's several things that he said, and I would have liked to hear from him say today, you know what, I probably handled that situation the wrong way and let my emotions to get the best of me. But Dabo Sweeney does not apologize. He's just. You know, the whole he tells the guy, don't be a fan then. You know, I mean, come on, dude. The guy just got done telling you that he's a third generation Clemson fan, has been going to Clemson games his whole life, been supporting the team his whole life, and now you're telling him because he's asking you some questions, don't be a fan.
Like,
that's just ridiculous.
Like, this ain't nothing against Clemson. Dabo deserves those stands behind him to be empty after that.
No, I don't think that'll happen because unlike what the picture that Dabo Sweeney paints about the fan base is they're Clemson fans, not Dabo fans. So they're going to go support the team and the university no matter who's on the sideline, whether it's him or anybody else.
Oh, I believe you're absolutely right.
And that
deserves it. I didn't say it's going to happen.
Yeah, and including me. I mean, I'm going this weekend. If I was really pissed off and saying pull a Carolina Jackpot like he did last year and say I'm not supporting this team anymore until things change. You remember when Jackpot did that last year?
Oh yeah,
for like a week.
Carolina stuff up in the attic.
Yeah, he said I'm not supporting this team until things change. Of course, they won the next 2 games after he said that, and he was right back on board. But whatever. But I'm not doing that. Okay, I'm going to support the Clemson football team. I don't care who's there. I mean, I don't care who's leading the team or not. I don't care if Dabo Sweeney wants me there or not. I'm going. You know, so the same way I've been doing my whole life. And the same way I'll do if he walks out the door tomorrow, I'm going to a Clemson game next year. Yeah, I don't care.
Right.
I'm not going for him. I'm going for me. But anyway, so yeah, Clemson with host Notre Dame. If I had to pick this game right now, I'm clearly picking Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame's a better team. Now, like I said earlier, I think this could be a dangerous game for Notre Dame because Clemson they're all out of fucks. There's no fucks left to be given, and so I feel like they might be able to actually play a little bit more freely now, knowing that they don't have anything to lose. So we'll see. Nothing would surprise me. I think if Clemson does win this game, it's going to be a very, very close game that comes down to the end. I don't think Clemson's going to win by 2 or 3 scores or anything. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the wheels just fucking fell. Like if they go out there in the first quarter and turn the ball over twice like they do every week, then the wheels might fall off. Because at that point, you might see people start to leave the stadium in frustration.
You might. That's actually a good point.
So.
I don't know. I mean, to me, Notre Dame is very one-dimensional on offense, so the defense should be able to sell out on the run. Because I think your corners, especially Wiggins, are good enough to be left out on an island.
Yeah.
I mean, for as good as Hartman is, I don't think Notre Dame wide receivers are that good. Now, the flip side of that, basically Notre Dame's defense can do the same thing, but we've already seen Al Golden fuck up a lot this year, so I'm going to assume he's going to keep fucking up because that's what Al Golden does.
Yeah. B. Bean says, where's my loyalty to Clemson? Why not pick Clemson to win? Because I've watched them play this year. And I've watched Notre Dame play this year. And I'm not just going to pick Clemson to win every game because I'm a fan of the team.
Yeah, you come up with I came up with reasons for why I thought Miami could beat North Carolina, but I didn't pick them to win it.
Yeah.
I picked them to lose it in the offseason.
And look, I still think, despite the way things have gone, that Clemson is a better team than their record. I think they're a better team than a 4-4 team. But the fact of the matter is they're 4-4. And that just seems to be who this team is. They instead of finding ways to win, they find ways to lose. And Notre Dame is too good of a team to be out there making those kind of mistakes and expect to beat them. And also, Notre Dame's won the last 2 meetings against Clemson. So.
Is it the last 2?
Yeah.
I know they won last year. You're right. That's right. Because DJ came in and had that great performance. But wait a minute. No, I think they're 1-1 the last 2 because one of them was the ACC championship game. And then one was the last regular season meeting, wasn't it?
Might be right about that. They played in. What year was that?
So they obviously played 22 last year in Clemson.
Right.
Lost.
So yeah, they played last year and Notre Dame lost. They played. Was it 21 ACC championship game or 20? 20.
It was 20 season.
It was 20. Yeah, 20 because it was the Rona year. And I believe they played in 21 and also lost.
Okay, see, I was thinking they didn't play in 21.
So, anyway, that's all I have to say about that. I don't think that Clemson is as bad as their record, but again, they are who they are, and can they go out there and put together a virtually mistake-free game? Possibly. I mean, they're due to, but it doesn't seem to be their thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm about to say and that's what I think it would take for Clemson to win the game is, play basically mistake-free football.
Yeah, they can't. The fumbles and the interceptions. If no fumbles or interceptions, and actually, as good as the defense has played for the majority of the year, they're not forcing a lot of turnovers either. I mean,
yeah. Well, and to your point earlier about Maffa, I don't know if it's you're not good at pass blocking. I don't know if it's because you don't want to pass block. You better get that shit figured out quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Yeah. All right, Georgia Tech and Virginia. We're skipping over North Carolina and Campbell because it's Campbell.
North Carolina better not lose to the Campbell Soup kids.
Oops.
Well, if it's anything like last year, they've cashed it in. Man, I'm so happy we beat them again.
All right. All jokes aside, these are 2 teams that are trending upwards towards the end of the season. So this is not
are you really trending upwards.
Who?
Georgia Tech.
Well, yeah. I mean, you beat Miami. You beat North Carolina. I mean, is that not trending upwards after losing to Bowling Green?
Well, we also lost to Boston College.
Right. So, but that's an upward trend, right? Beating North Carolina and Miami?
Yeah, because, I mean, despite what the internet says, Miami's not a bad team. They're a good team.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's just I've watched it happen a lot, and the win-loss thing, it's getting too much to ignore. Like, I mean, hopefully at this point in the season, well, I know this for a fact because Brent Key said it in his press conference today. They're hyper aware of the win-loss thing. And he told them, we cannot be looking at their record. They're 2-6. He's like, we cannot be looking at their record. It is independent of that. They're a good team. Or
if you notice, Georgia Tech's getting up. Like both Miami and North Carolina were ranked. Like it's something about Georgia Tech under Key. They get up for ranked games, but they just drop. Then they'll turn around and drop a Bowling Green, like you said.
Exactly. And if we could even handle our business against like Boston College, we would still be in the hunt for the ACC title. But
I'd be less mad about Boston College because like there's something to be said about conference teams you play yearly or every other year. There's going to be a level of familiarity with those teams. So regardless of how good or bad they are.
They were an Atlantic team, so we didn't play them really.
Right, as we're saying, I think.
Oh, I guess you're right.
Well, no, C-Dog's right. I mean, if they didn't play them that often, I was.
So, yeah, we didn't. So, I don't know. It's just, I mean, the Boston College sucked because it happened again. It's like, hello, we just lost to Bowling Green, and now we can't beat Boston College. It's like, I know that Boston College is better than Bowling Green, but it's like,
we've mentioned on this show too, like Virginia and Boston College, despite their record, both of those teams have fought tooth and nail in every game they've been in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a few bounces of the ball the right way, and maybe their record's a little bit better.
That's what Brent Key was saying today. So, I mean, they're taking them seriously, and honestly, I think it's a plus that it's a road game for us. Although Charlottesville, in sort of the way that we own North Carolina, Virginia owns us. Like, we can never beat them for whatever reason, especially in Charlottesville. We haven't won there since 2013. And
they're playing a lot better right now than they were at the beginning of the year. It's not the same team.
This is a conference opponent, like division opponent, familiarity. Like, we played there every other year, and we hadn't won there since 2013, and they've had some bad teams.
I don't know. Is Wahoo Brad still in the chat here? Because I'd be curious to know from him. I know he was like, throwing in after the first 4 or 5 games, he was ready to, jump off a bridge. I wonder if his attitude has changed. I know their record is still bad. It's still only a 2-win team, but is there any sort of hope for the
out to make a bowl?
Yeah. Well, not for this season necessarily. I'm just talking about the future. Is there any sort of resurgence of hope that Virginia can get things back on track over the next couple of years, or is this just who they are?
There should be, in my opinion.
I would think so.
I don't know.
I said, a few bounces of the ball and their record, they probably win a couple of those games, and their record looks vastly different.
I've been begging Wahoo Brad for years to come on and preview the Virginia game with me, but he won't. He dodges me every year.
Oh, that reminds me. I forgot to let you guys know this. I am collaborating with John from Always Irish tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and for the Clemson Notre Dame game. So keep an eye out for that.
We collaborated with Russ. Have you heard of this guy? The Tar Heel Russ?
The Tar? No.
So he's a new YouTuber, and his channel, I'm gonna go ahead and link it. It's called the Tar Heel Huddle. And
is that the guy that was on with Coop?
Yeah, he was on with Coop, and then he came on with me and Rec Talk after the game. Good sport too. Like, he came on after losing for 2 weeks in a row. He came on and talked with me and Rec Talk. He's a cool dude, and he's very knowledgeable and personable. He's really talented. Here, I'll link his channel.
But I'll check his channel out. What kind of content is it?
He's like us.
Oh, okay.
Although he's a little more buttoned up. He's not quite as crass, but he's not like boring either.
Okay, I'll check him.
He has a little more enthusiasm to
Yeah.
him than our current North Carolina.
Yeah.
Well, I know dead people that have more enthusiasm than him.
Yeah, he does like little. Yeah, he brings the energy. He's like, this is a
Like
really,
Pete, you should do this at some point. Like, pull up a clip from 3 weeks ago of Luke on the ACC show, and then pull up the clip from the night. Like, there's no difference in Luke
same
whatsoever.
tone.
No.
Yeah. He's like, this is a really big compliment, but he's kind of like a Coach Coop type. He's like a.
He is.
Okay, so he's like ultra positive all the time. Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's real. He's real. I mean, Coop will call it like it is too.
Yeah, I know.
yeah.
But I mean, like
He's
his
just
overall
upbeat. He's just,
his overall attitude is very chipper and
Yeah.
positive most of the time.
yeah. He's really upbeat
Yeah.
and high energy. Yeah.
I can't relate.
Yeah.
Oh man. Although that does seem to be what a lot of people like. You know, I don't know. People.
And his channel is doing well. He just started this year, and he's already at like 500 something subscribers. So
Yeah, that's good.
he's doing good.
You know, positive attitude does attract positive energy and stuff like that. My problem is I'm just not a very positive person. I mean, I'm not like all doom and gloom, but I can't pretend to be positive all the time.
You're
That's just
chill. There's a
Well,
difference between-
and this isn't a knock on Coop, but he plays into the fan base as well.
yeah, yeah, sure.
Well,
Like he did a 4-hour live stream on the quote unquote quarterback controversy there is no quarterback controversy. Tyler Van Dyke is the starting quarterback. Like, that's not even a question.
well, Coop.
But there's
has
a
to talk-
controversy with the fan base.
Coop is forced to talk to his audience like they're 3 years old,
Yeah, I heard you say that before. Yeah.
because that's like their level of intelligence. and maturity.
Hey, wait a minute.
Well.
That's not very nice, Sea Dog.
You know it's true. You
Yeah,
said the
but you're
same thing.
lumping me in with those fucks.
Look, there's a select few like you and our buddy Traveling Fools that have a level. You're like normal people that happen to be Miami fans.
And Tim's on a whole nother level. Jesus.
I think in the sports world on YouTube, college football is, I'm more familiar with that than anything else. But just in general, whether it's NFL or college football, there's two different kinds of creators. There's ones that sort of will be like, what kind of content do people want to see? And I'm going to do my best to make that content. And then there's
Yeah.
people who are like, don't even take that into consideration, like myself. It doesn't even
See,
cross my
that's what I
mind.
would do too.
I put
Yeah.
videos out that I would want to watch.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it.
Yeah, like y'all remember when Ja'Curry Brown came in last year and played for Miami and how abysmal that was?
Yeah.
Well, I don't see.
Yeah,
that.
like half of Coop's callers were talking about that he needs to be put in the game immediately.
Yeah.
He hasn't taken a snap since the spring,
Yeah, that's
but
ridiculous.
he should be playing immediately.
Yeah.
That's what I got to deal with.
Well, I said the same thing about Klubnik, but for different reasons. I think the Klubnik should take a seat and watch somebody else play just to put things in perspective for him.
Little reality check.
A little reality check. That's right. That's all.
Yeah, and the same thing's happened at Miami before. I've seen it. Didn't do any good, but I've seen the attempt anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what that says about Clemson's depth at quarterback. If he's turning the ball over 50 times a game and the next best guy isn't as good, then I don't know. I don't know. That's not good.
I mean, that means they've missed a lot in recruiting. Which,
Well-
I mean, you're going to miss some. It happens, but
Well, we have no idea about Vizina. Vizina is a highly rated, highly recruited quarterback, but he's a true freshman, and they're redshirting him. But again,
yeah.
I don't know. You still get 4 games. I don't understand why he can't play 1 or 2. You know what I mean?
And I kind of agree about that. Like, as far as like Emory's been in 4 games this year. I wouldn't have a problem as long as they've got a lead putting in Jakari for 4 games.
That brings me to my next thing is people keep telling me, well, Pete, the reason that Dabo won't bench Klubnik is he's scared that he'll transfer out if he does. And I'm like, well, if he transferred out for getting benched for a game or even a half, then good riddance, buddy. You don't need to be here. And by the way, I don't think he would transfer out. You know, Cade Klubnik got offers from like 10 different schools. He was a 5-star quarterback. He got offers from everybody under the sun and didn't commit to any of them because he was waiting on an offer from Clemson. And the day that they offered him, he accepted. He wanted to go to Clemson more than Clemson wanted him, apparently. So the idea that Cade Klubnik is going to transfer out, I don't see that. I think he's as Dabo says, all in on Clemson. So anyway, so
DJ was too.
Yeah, well, and guess what? DJ had some turnover issues, and guess what? They benched him.
Yeah.
They benched him during the Notre Dame. He threw two pick sixes during the Notre Dame game last year, and they put his ass on the bench and brought in Klubnik, a true freshman. So,
can you guys guess the line on this game?
what the Georgia Tech and Virginia?
Yeah.
I don't have to guess. I know what it is because we looked at it last night.
Yeah, we're underdogs.
Yeah.
So that should tell you.
Was it like 3.5 points or something?
1.5. I think.
1.5. All right.
So that should tell you. That should tell you something there.
Do I want Klubnik to transfer? No, I don't.
On a positive note, Sea-Dog, I mean, Virginia, you know, won 2 games, was starting to get on a roll, played good against Miami.
Yeah.
Maybe Miami killed their momentum. Maybe not.
Brad said this was the second year in a row they've lost to Miami in overtime. That's crazy.
Yeah, because last year was that 14-12 game that went to like 4 overtimes.
We had a game like that against them too, although we weren't good enough to go into overtime with them.
D4.
The year before, if I'm not mistaken, the year before that, we lost to Virginia on a missed field goal as time expired. Yeah. Manny played for the field goal. And our kicker's great, but he was a true freshman at the time.
So, yeah, Virginia gives you guys fits like they do us. So, I honestly think we're going to lose just based on what I've seen.
You know what? I'm picking Virginia to win this too.
I think
until the pattern breaks, I'm sticking with the pattern.
The pattern.
If there's one thing
that's nothing against Sea-Dog or Georgia Tech, but until it breaks, I'm sticking with it.
Slim Shady, the numerologist. Look at him.
If there's one thing that we have going for us, it's that it's on the road. We play better on the road.
That is true. You do play better on the road.
But usually, you know, like I said, we haven't won in Charlottesville in so long, and usually we play better at night too, which this is at 2 p.m. on the CW.
Yeah, the CW. Everyone's going to be watching that.
Did you see that they I don't know what the term, I forgot what the term is called. They like kicked it back or whatever, the time for Clemson and Georgia Tech. I forget what the term is, but basically they didn't announce it, so they're gonna see how both teams perform this week to pick a time slot for us.
Yeah, well, I'll just go ahead and tell you, it's gonna be at 12 o'clock.
Damn. I must say, I got to admit, it's kind of nice being able to watch some of these football games after I watch my reruns of Dawson's Creek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's blacked out in my area, which is silly because I live in the state of South Carolina. They should be putting Clemson on TV here.
How did you watch it?
Somebody was streaming it on YouTube.
Well,
I've had that happen to me last year.
I might go over to Rec Talks because the last time we played on the CW against Wake, I went over there and he had it. So
yeah, so there was 2 different live streams. One of them got shut down at halftime, and then the other one stayed on the whole game. So I don't know how they get away with that, but yeah, that's how I watched it.
I don't either.
D4, what's up, D4? In the chat says, Sea-Dog should be proclaimed the king of the ACC show until y'all's team can beat his. Well, except for the fact that Georgia Tech hasn't beat Clemson since, 2013?
it's It's been like 8 years.
Yeah, so they haven't beat Clemson yet. I don't know. So I'm the king of the ACC
You
show.
also haven't beat us this year, and also you're going to lose to us this year. So
We have a round table here.
How confusing is that? Like the worst Miami team in at least 10 years beats the ever-loving shit out of Georgia Tech, but an obviously much better Miami team goes in there and loses. It's so confusing.
I said it. I said whatever is the home team has the disadvantage in this series. I said it, didn't I?
I don't remember. I'm gonna assume you did.
I said it last year and this year. I said we have a home disadvantage. But I will say that this past week at the North Carolina game, we had an absolutely insane crowd. It was loud, and we rushed the field for the first time since 2015 when we beat Florida State at home.
That brings up a question I wanted to ask you, C-Dog. When was the last time you went to a Georgia Tech game that they won?
The Duke game last year. But
okay.
But I know that but I've been to very many that we've lost. I went to after my very first video. We were talking about this the other night on the live stream, and we went back and watched my first video. I had just gone to the Pitt game, and we lost. That was the game where Jeff Collins wouldn't shake Narduzzi's hand.
Oh yeah.
And I was pissed because we lost it in a close game, and then I went the next year thinking we would beat them, and we got blown out. And then I went to the Duke game last year, and it was awesome. It was amazing. It was freaking loud, and we won at the last second in overtime. It was incredible.
Do you know that in 30-something years of me going to Clemson games almost every year, there's been some years when I was younger that I didn't go, like in my early 20s. But anyway, I've been to a lot of games in Death Valley. I have never seen Clemson lose a football game in Death Valley.
Man.
Ever.
Wait, are you going to the Notre Dame?
Yeah, so if they lose this weekend, that'll be the first. Now, I have seen them lose because I saw them lose when I went to the Georgia and Clemson game a couple years ago, but that wasn't in Death Valley. That was in Charlotte. So I have seen them lose in person, but I've never seen them lose in Clemson. So that'll be a first if that happens this weekend. I don't know how I'm going to handle that.
I have a losing record. I think I've only seen Georgia Tech win twice in person.
Wow, you're like the opposite of me.
Damn. Dude, I've only been to one Miami game that they've lost.
Now,
that was Clemson last year.
Now, this is games I can remember because I used to go to every weekend when I was a kid, and we would tailgate a lot of the time, but we wouldn't even go in the game. So I don't obviously remember any of that. I only have very few memories of that. But yeah, I've only seen us beat Duke, and funny enough, Georgia.
Wow.
In 2016, that was the last time we beat them.
Wow.
It was in Athens. Yeah, it was awesome. But other than that, yeah, lost to freaking Pitt twice. I've seen in person. Lost to freaking Virginia last year. Lost to freaking Bowling Green this year. It's I can't catch a break. And then back in the day, I went and watched us lose the ACC championship to Florida State. So
that's pretty rough.
My wife pointed out something to me the other day, and I kind of felt like an ass. I haven't taken my daughter yet to a Miami game. I've taken her to a Tampa game, but I haven't taken her to a Miami game yet.
Well, it's pretty far from where you live.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even Tampa is, but we went to see Tampa play the Titans in Nashville. So either the Florida game or the Georgia Tech game next year, I might have to drag the whole family along.
Now I'm going to the Georgia game this year, so hopefully the pattern.
Well, if you beat Clemson, hold on, what week is that? No, you're right. No, that's the week before.
What?
Isn't Georgia?
No, it's Virginia, Clemson, somebody, then Georgia.
Syracuse,
then Georgia.
And then Georgia.
So if the pattern continues, they'll lose to Virginia and beat Clemson and Georgia.
I got my
The
weeks.
pattern.
I got my weeks mixed up. For some reason, I thought that Clemson played Georgia Tech the week before Thanksgiving.
Thank God we don't.
And
well, I
let
guess
me
it
tell you
doesn't
something.
matter, but-
If the pattern continues through Syracuse, I'm betting the farm on Georgia Tech to beat Georgia.
Especially if we play them at night, which I don't think we would. We've been playing them at noon forever, but yeah, the pattern, man. I mean, look, the pattern's cute and everything, but I hope we win this weekend.
I mean, if the pattern works out, you're gonna make a bowl game.
That's true.
It's true, but do we really want to get to 5-7 and then have to count on beating Georgia to get to a bowl game? It didn't work last year.
Yeah, that reminds me. Go Virginia. I'm rooting for Virginia this week. I need to win my bet. I forgot about that.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, too
Yeah.
bad.
Hey, you realize if y'all lose this week, that's it. You got no shot of making a bowl.
That's not true.
Yeah, it is.
The pattern.
Yeah, fuck that pattern.
The
The
pattern.
pattern.
Yeah,
The
go
fucking pattern.
Yeah.
The pattern.
go Wahoos. I would have pulled for
Whatever.
Virginia anyway because I'm a Tony Elliott fan, but
Whatever, dude. Tony Elliott freaking sucks. I would hate to be a fan of him.
Now I got into this with Jackpot last night. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't you say that, when Tony Elliott was, quote unquote, the OC, it was a little more Jeff Scott when he was there than it was Tony Elliott?
yeah, I don't really know that to be true. I guess it was because Elliott. I mean, Scott was the play caller.
Are you going to
See, Rob was telling me last night that no, Elliott was calling plays.
No, well, according to what Dabo Sweeney said to Tyler on the radio show yesterday, when he hired Tony Elliott as offensive coordinator, he had never called a play before in his career. So
I guess Rob was talking about when they were co-OCs together.
yeah. So if I remember correctly, Jeff Scott was the one that was up in the booth, and Elliott was down on the field. But I'm pretty sure
Right.
that Scott was the one calling in the plays down to them to call in the. You know what I'm saying? Because it was a big deal whenever Scott. No, I'm sorry. I'm mixing something else up. But I'm thinking about whenever Tony Elliott got the Rona in the 2020 year, and Streeter was the one that went up and called the plays. But so anyway, but I'm pretty sure Scott was the play caller when they were co-OCs.
That was just something that I remember you saying that, and then that when Rob come on the Roosters show, obviously the topic of Dabo's debacle came up, and I remember you telling me that was more Jeff Scott than it was Tony Elliott. He said no.
Well, I don't think it's a coincidence necessarily that when Scott left, the offensive problems kind of started. I mean, Elliott was still there.
Yeah, this is true.
And look, I think Elliott's a very good offensive coordinator. I don't really have an issue with Tony Elliott. No,
Streeter was the one you had an issue with.
Yeah, Streeter was the one, right? Yeah, I was like when Elliott got the job, I wasn't one of the ones that was calling for him to be fired before he got that job. There was people that were doing that because they came out that year and sort of took a step backwards offensively. I'm not sure that was 100% Tony Elliott's problem. But it has been a slow decline offensively ever since Jeff Scott left. And but ironically, that was also the time that Trevor Lawrence left. Well, Trevor Lawrence was there for another year after that, but still.
Yeah, I was about to say, that was another year later.
Yeah.
But I mean, even then, Trevor's last year, you could tell there was a step back in the offense.
Well,
Wasn't significant, but you could see it.
again, the play calling has been a big issue because in that postseason game, Trevor Lawrence last year, you had Tony Elliott. I mean, you had Travis Etienne, who was averaging like 8 yards a carry in that game in the first half, and they gave him the ball twice in the second half. Twice.
Yeah, that's foolish.
It's like
Foolish.
he's literally outside of your quarterback. He's the best player on the field, and he's not getting the ball.
Yeah, and I think like he's not the only offensive coordinator to have that problem. I remember watching. I mean, granted, this wasn't a college game, but I remember watching Tampa at New Orleans in 2020, and it was the game at New Orleans, so it was one that Tampa got absolutely obliterated, and there were 4 rushes called, and one of them, like that, included Tom Brady taking a knee.
Yeah, the play calling has been a big issue with me.
I'm like, you got Leonard Fournette back there. What are you doing?
Clemson runs it. I mean, they pass it on first and second down, get behind the chains, and then it's 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 12 or 13, and they run it. It's like, and they've done that several times this year. It's like, what are you doing?
They're not the only ones. Like, what is it with these? When did it become a thing? You're in 3rd and long, and I mean, I've seen a 3rd and 17, and you're running the ball. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I mean, didn't they do that? They did it against Miami too, didn't they? Didn't they in overtime?
I've seen Miami do it too. I've seen other teams do it.
They were in overtime. They were 1st and goal from the 10-yard line, right? They throw it on 1st and 2nd down, lose 3 yards in the process with a sack, I think, and then so now it's 3rd and goal from the 13-yard line, and they run the ball. They hadn't had a run for 13 yards all game. It's like, I don't. I don't
get this trend in offensive play call. Like this is something else we talked about last night, and I scream at my TV no matter the team whenever I see it. If it's 4th and inches, 4th and 1, and you're gonna go for it, and the fucking quarterback is in the shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing down on the goal line, right?
Dude, Florida.
So you're on the 1 inch line,
Florida
and you put the guy in shotgun. You only need 1 inch. It's like you could literally fall forward and get 1 inch.
Like literally, it's get under center, snap the ball to the quarterback, and basically have the running back run into him as hard as he can, and you're gonna get the touchdown or the first down or whatever you're trying to get.
If you give film off of the ball with only 1 inch to gain, 99 out of 100, even if the defense knows he's getting the ball and he's running it between the tackles, they know it's coming. 99 out of 100 times he's getting 1 inch.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hey.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I cut out a little early tonight and go hang out with my wife on Halloween?
No, it's fine. I'm actually going to shut the show down a little bit early too. Can you last for 5 more minutes?
Yeah.
All right, let's finish this up. We talked about this already. Virginia Tech and Louisville. This is now Virginia Tech's not even ranked, and Louisville is ranked 13th. But that doesn't matter as far as the ACC is concerned. Virginia Tech is sitting there, what, 2nd place right now? It's tied for 2nd. What is it?
I think you're right. They're up there.
Yeah, they're in 3rd, I think.
3rd, but they would be in sole place of 2nd if they won this game, I believe.
I really don't think that they're gonna win out, or I think they're a little bit fool's gold, to be honest.
I don't know, man. I think Virginia Tech is kind of like Virginia in the aspect of, they're a scrappier team than what people are giving credit for. Like,
they are.
They're not complete, hot dog water.
Right.
They are, but their wins are over Pittsburgh, Wake Forest, and Syracuse. That's 3 of the worst teams in the conference, and they have, this is their remaining schedule. It's all ACC games. Are they really going to win out? They have Louisville, Boston College, NC State, and Virginia. I just don't.
They could theoretically win 4 of them.
I just don't know.
I'm actually picking this game's in Louisville. I'm picking Louisville to win this game. Obviously, I think they're a better team.
Yeah.
But if Virginia Tech is able to pull this off, that's going to cause a lot of chaos in the conference. So
I'm all for chaos.
Yeah, and I think
Hokies.
there's a lot of teams out there that are hoping Virginia Tech does win this game. If you're not a Louisville fan,
I guess I am.
Yeah, sure. I could care less. Clemson doesn't have a chance
I
anyway.
love the chaos.
So, but I fully admit I was wrong about Louisville. I thought it was insane, the hype they were getting in the offseason, and they've lived up to it now. Part of the reason they were getting the hype is because they dodged all the big all the big boys in the conference.
They really
But
did.
but even so, I didn't expect them to be sitting at the 13th in the country going into Week 10. I didn't.
No, I'd be lying if I said I did.
Yeah. So all the people that predicted that, I guess, kudos to you. And last but not least, Miami at NC State. I'm gonna go ahead and need Miami to take care of what Clemson couldn't do. Can you do that for me?
I think we'll be all right. I mean, if NC State's offense is as bad as you put out on Twitter, I mean, Miami's defense is playing great football right now. And they are kind of turnover happy, as opposed to Clemson's defense. So, I mean, even if Tyler Van Dyke doesn't have the greatest game, because I still don't think he's 100%, I still think they'll be all right. They should be able to run. I mean, I don't know. I'd be lying if I said I knew how good NC State's defense is, but Miami's offensive line and running back should be good enough to get the job done, I would think.
Yeah. I think Miami should win this game. I do think that if Van Dyke isn't 100%, that is a little bit of a hindrance there. This is a night game on the road for Miami.
Yeah.
I hope you pull it off. But Fireball wants to know what's Dabo's buyout right now. I think it's around $55 million.
Brian went live earlier. I think he said it's almost 80 right now.
All right, whatever it is, it's a lot. It's more. I'll tell you this. It's more than Clemson has, and also
it's right up there with Jimbo Fisher's.
And also, they're not looking to fire him. That's the most important thing in the conversation. They're not looking to fire. There's nobody in Clemson University outside of me. I don't know the booster situation. I'm sure there might be maybe one or two boosters that aren't happy with the current situation, but there's nobody that has any power over whether or not he gets fired or not that wants him fired. Not now. You could have the same result next year, not next year. If Dabo Sweeney is to leave Clemson in sometime in the next 2 or 3 years, it's because Dabo Sweeney leaves on his own, laurels. He's not getting fired, and I don't think he should be. So
We just agree to disagree on that one.
Yeah, we're going to agree to disagree on that one. All right. There you have it, folks. Sea-Dog, you can go be with your wife now.
Okay. Are you ending the show?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll hang around then.
Okay.
Here, I'll show you. I'll show you something. Give me a second.
All right. Well, I'm gonna let you go then, Slim.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for coming on, buddy. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Later. Let's see here. You gonna put yourself on camera?
Yeah, 1 second.
I had to take my costume off. It was this damn mullet. This thing is like, I have to keep in mind, if I ever go out in the woods and it's 10 below zero, I just need to forget a sock cap. I'll just wear this thing. This thing is like a 500 degrees wearing this thing.
I didn't know taking the costume off was an option.
Yeah. Oh, you still have your banana costume on?
Yeah.
All right. Put yourself on camera then. Let us see it.
All right. 1 second.
Yes, we'll call-in show tomorrow, a midday show tomorrow on my second channel at 11 a.m. I'm doing a collaboration tomorrow afternoon with John from Always Irish. And then tomorrow night, the call-in show at 10 p.m. And you know what? That reminds me, Will. I'm hoping to get a good dose of some Notre Dame people call into the call-in show. Don't usually get Notre Dame fans call into the call-in show, but hopefully they show up tomorrow night. Looks like you peeled the banana. That thing peels off?
Yeah, it peels. That's pretty great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can peel it. Yeah.
I don't know if that rant that Dabo gave was better than the Clemsoning rant. I think that was his all-time best rant. That one and the one where he's arguing with Steve Spurrier about how South Carolina's not Clemson. That's a great one too. I think I actually have that on here somewhere.
Yeah.
What were you going to show us?
I was just gonna show that I can peel my banana.
Oh, you can peel your banana? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where is this here? I need glasses. Here we go.
After 5 years at Clemson, if I've only got 35 wins, there's going to be a new coach here. And you know what? There should be, because there's a different standard. And so he's exactly right.
This is interesting.
They ain't Alabama, they ain't LSU, and they're certainly not Clemson. And, you know, that's why Carolina's in Chapel Hill and USC's in California. And the university in this state always has been, always will be Clemson. And it's right here in Clemson, South Carolina. So you can print that, tweet that.
Now, what's interesting about this? Hold on.
After 5.
Listen to the very first thing he says here. This is pertinent to what's going on now at Clemson. This is actually very fascinating. Listen to this the very first, 5 seconds of this rant here. Listen.
Years at Clemson, if I've only got 35 wins, there's going to be a new coach here. And you know what? There should be, because there's
He's saying that if we don't win enough, there should be a new coach here.
Yeah. Somebody needs to keep track of that and see if you get 35 wins.
Oh man, listen to this.
5 years at Clemson, if I've only got 35 wins, there's going to be a new coach here. And you know what? There should be.
Oh man.
That is funny though. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, Dabo. Well,
All right,
Dabo,
Pete.
I love you, even if I'm sure you don't like me, or people like me. I'm sure he doesn't know who I am, but I love you, buddy. It's gonna be okay. Oh. All right, Sea Dog. Any final words as we shut the show down here?
No, man. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, happy Halloween. I get to go eat my kids' candy now. That's great.
Yeah.
All right. See you later, man. Have a good one.
Later.
All right, everybody. That's going to do it for me as well. Thanks for tuning in to the ACC show. We did watch at the very beginning of the show the rankings tonight. Ohio State won. What was it? Georgia 2. I forget what the even rankings were. We'll continue to keep up with those every Tuesday during the ACC show. Actually, I think they start changing that till 9 p.m. because college basketball is about to start. So, but anyway, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. for the midday show. If you haven't visited my second channel, that's where that show is broadcast from now on. Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, I know it's being posted by Nightbot in the chat. So you can probably scroll up if you haven't. Here it is. I'll post it real quick. Maybe I won't post it. There it is. There it is. So I'll be on for the midday show tomorrow morning, and then tomorrow night here again for the college football call-in show at 10 p.m. Thanks, everybody, and I'll see you soon.